Video presentation about future trends and emerging technologies. The author is Charlie Luca.
Good day everyone, we are the group number 6 and I'm Eleni Rojas. So today we're going to present to you the journal that we choose to discuss. The journal that we choose to discuss entitled Future Trends and Emerging Technologies. It is the author of this journal, Charlie Luca. The publication date is April 2024. So let's start with the abstract of this journal. So it says here that the technology landscape is evolving at an unprecedented pace with innovations continuously reshaping industry and societal norms. So meaning to say, yung mga technology nowadays is really evolving and emerging innovations like sinabi na nga dito, the artificial intelligence, blockchain, quantum computing, and the metaverse are driving transformative change. So it is on how society and industry operate technologies nowadays, because we are talking about future technologies, future trends, and emerging technologies. So this paper explores future trends that will shape the digital era, including the proliferation of edge AI, decentralized finance, 6G networks, and advances in biotechnology. It also examines the convergence of technologies like the Internet of Things, the AR, the VR, and sustainable computing, highlighting their potential to solve global challenges by analyzing these trends. So meaning to say, this research paper will really explore how new technology such as the sinabi na nga, the edge AI, the decentralized finance, which is the DeFi, the 6G, and the biotechnology are converging to address modern global challenges. Because just for example, the 6G networks may really allow real-time remote surgeries using robotics and VR, while biotech advance could lead to personalized medicines based on your DNA. So these are the examples. So as we go on, we have here the keywords like the future trends, emerging technologies, future trends and emerging technologies, artificial intelligence, blockchain, quantum computing, metaverse, DeFi, edge AI, 6G, IoT, augmented reality, virtual reality, biotechnology, sustainable tech, digital transformation. So these keywords really summarize the themes in the presentation. So meaning to say, iting mga keywords na makikita mo throughout the discussion. Each one represents a key technology that is really shaping the future of industries and digital transformation. So we have here the introduction, the background, and the motivation. With the exponential growth of Internet of Things, the IoT devices, and the increasing need for real-time data processing, edge computing has emerged as pivotal technology. So meaning to say, as more the Internet of Things, the IoT devices are really developed, there is growing demand to process data instantly. So the traditional cloud, the computing isn't fast enough for real-time needs. So edge computing, processing data closer to where it's generated, has really become crucial. So for example dito yung self-driving car, as we are talking about future trends, self-driving car needs to instantly process information from its sensors. So edge computing enables this by processing the data within the car itself rather than sending it to the distant data center. So next, we do have the rise of edge computing and IoT devices. So the proliferation of connected devices from sensors and cameras to wearables and industrial machines has generated an overwhelming amount of data. So according to industry reports, billions of IoT devices are projected to come online in the next decade, generating database of data annually. So more and more devices, from wearable fitness trackers to industrial machines, are being connected sa internet natin. So these devices really produce huge volumes of data. Itong mga technology na to. And it is managing this data has become really key concerns nowadays. And because we are talking about future trends. Okay, so it really involves those technologies. So next we have the importance of data management and storage at the edge. Okay, so while edge computing offers numerous advantages, it introduces complex data management and storage challenges. So although yung mga edge computing really improves yung speed and efficiency, it also creates yung mga challenges and sa pag-manage and pag-store ng mga data in a secure way and in a reliable way. Okay? So, for example dito yung a retail store using edge devices for security cameras and customer tracking needs to store video footage locally. So, if the storage nun is not managed well, so it could lose important security data during a power outage. So, kahit na may mga advantages itong mga data management and storage at the edge, may mga disadvantages din siya. So, let's move on. So, moreover, though, these edge devices must manage dual lives as data, seamlessly persistent storage over after unexpected failure. So, intelligently deciding which data to process locally, what to catch, and when to offload information to centralized cloud systems. So, meaning to say, edge devices must intelligently manage the data, deciding what to process immediately. So, dapat ganito siya, what to store locally, and what to send to the cloud. So, by this will ensure the system stays reliable and efficient even during the unexpected events. So, that's it. Thank you.
Good day, everyone, and especially to you, Ma'am Pinky. I am Michelle Tanador from BS Edma 3A, and I am the second reporter from Group 6. So today, I'll be discussing some of the key challenges in the basic architecture of edge computing. So let's start with the challenges. So edge computing is a powerful approach that brings data processing closer to where the data is actually generated, like sensors or smart devices. While it offers many benefits, it also comes with its own set of challenges. So, these are some of the most important ones that researchers and developers are currently working to solve. First is the resources constraints. How can each system efficiently handle data with limited computing power, storage capacity, and energy resources? So, each devices usually have limited computing power, storage, and battery life. Unlike large cloud data centers, these devices need to do a lot with very little. So the big question is, how can we optimize the performance without using too many resources? Next, data consistency and synchronization. How can systems maintain consistency across distributed edge nodes without sacrificing performance? So, since data is being processed in different locations at the same time, it's a challenge to keep everything in sync. If one edge device processes different data from another, it can lead to inconsistencies, especially when systems are spread across different areas. So the third one, security and privacy. What mechanisms are needed to protect sensitive data stored and processed at the edge, especially in untrusted environments? So, edge devices are often placed in remote or less secure environments, which makes them more vulnerable to tampering or hacking. That's why strong encryption, secure hardware, and reliable authentication methods are crucial in edge computing. the fourth one is the scalability and adaptability. How can storage systems dynamically scale and adapt to fluctuating workloads and evolving data patterns? So, as more devices and applications are added, edge systems need to grow and adapt. So this includes not just adding hardware, but also making sure the software can adjust to new types of data in changing demands and real time. And the last one is resilience and fault tolerance. What strategies ensure data persistence and recovery in the face of hardware failures, connectivity disruptions, or cyber attacks? So what happens if a device suddenly fails or there's a network issue? So edge systems need to be built in a way that they can recover quickly, keep the data safe, and continue working even when there are problems. So all of these challenges are pushing researchers to develop better designs like lightweight systems, smart architectures, and hybrid models that combine edge and cloud computing. So solving this issue is key to unlock the full potential of edge computing, especially in industries like healthcare, manufacturing, and smart cities. So now, let's talk about the fundamentals of edge computing. So, edge computing is a distributed computing paradigm that brings computation and data storage closer to the location where data is generated. Rather than relying on a centralized cloud infrastructure, this approach reduces the distance data must travel, enabling faster processing and lower latency. So, edge computing is a distributed model, which means data is processed closer to the source rather than sending everything to a centralized cloud. So this reduces delays and avoids overloading the networks. So here are the main components. So the typical architecture of an edge computing system includes edge devices, edge nodes gateways, cloud or backend services. So first is the edge devices. So these are sensors, cameras, or smart tools that collect raw data from the environment. Think of them as the eyes and ears of the system. So that is the edge devices. Next is the edge nodes or gateways. Local processing units or micro data centers that perform initial data processing, filtering, and storage. So the edge nodes or gateways, these are small computing units located near the edge devices. They do quick tasks like filtering data, compressing files, or even performing real-time analysis before anything is sent to the cloud. And the last one is cloud or backend servers. Centralized servers that handle large-scale data storage, deep analytics, and long-term data retention. So, these servers is a while edge nodes handle immediate tasks. The cloud still plays an important role. It stores large amount of data, performs deep analytics, and supports long-term decision making. So, modern edge systems also use things like containers and microservices, which make it easier to manage, update, and scale the system. These tools have made edge computing more flexible, efficient. So to wrap it up, edge computing is changing the way we handle data by moving intelligence closer to the source. But to truly take advantage of it, we need to understand its architecture and overcome the challenges that come with it. So that's all for my report. Thank you for listening.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Renz Rafaela, and now we will understand the difference between cloud, fog, and edge computing. So, ano nga ba yung cloud computing? So, yung cloud computing ay isang processing sa malalayong lugar gamit ang internet. So, yung for example, yung Google Drive, yung files natin ay naka-stored sa cloud, hindi sa device natin. And isa pang example is yung Facebook or Instagram. Lahat ng photos, comments at messages natin ay naka-stored sa cloud server. So, yun ay sa malalayong lugar. And ibang example pa ay yung online gaming. So, yung game data and user profiles ay naka-stored sa cloud. So, yung fog na computing naman ay isang intermediate layer or malapit sa device pero hindi direkta sa mismong device. For example na lang is yung smart traffic light or CTs. So, yung sensor detect congestion tapos fog nodes ang nagde-decide kung kailan mag-green light. So, and factories with IoT machines. So, machines send data sa fog nodes para mabilis mag-adjust kung may problema. And energy grid monitoring. So, fog nodes analyze electricity usage at local level bago i-report sa cloud. And for more example is the surveillance system or CCTV cameras send video sa nearby fog nodes for motion detection before storing in the cloud. Okay, so and the last is the edge computing. So yung edge computing naman ay isang processing mismo sa device o sobrang lapit dito o real-time response. So mga halimbawa is yung self-driving cars. So real-time detection ng pedestrians, stoplights, etc. gamit ang computer sa loob ng kotse. And yung smartphone natin sa bahay and voice command like Alexa or Google Home process locally para mabilis ang response. And also the drones, while flying drones process sensor data on board makaiwas sa obstacles. And yung example na lang sa cellphone natin, yung Bluetooth, so mabilis siya. And also pala yung sa ibang explanation na lang is yung cloud, ito ay parang tawag sa customer service center sa ibang bansa. So malayo siya, malayo yung server at matagal makaresponde. At yung fog naman ay isang parang branch office sa inyong city or mas mabilis konti. Pero yung mabilis talaga is yung edge. Kasi yung edge ay parang ikaw mismo ang gumagawa. Instant decision ba kumbaga. So, yun. No? So, the comparison, this is the comparison table. So, when you see in the right side, the pyramid is nauna talaga yung cloud kasi siya talaga yung central. At sa gitna o sa middle is yung fog, and the edge naman is yung mga device na natin na ginagamit natin, billions of devices na nasa on-hand talaga natin or nakaka-touch talaga tayo dito. For example, yung cellphone natin, yung computer, laptop, vehicles, or yung mga nasa sa atin talaga. And naman yung sa fog naman, ito naman yung sa mga cities lang, yung mga traffic lights. So dito yun siya na bibilang sa fog. And then yung sa cloud naman, yung mga malayo to siya sa lugar o yung central, yung cloud niya is example is the Facebook kahit i-upload man tayo doon ng marami ay hindi yon ay makakasya lang yon kasi malaki talaga yung cloud. So the comparison table, so the cloud computing, fog computing, and edge computing. So ito yung aspeto niya is the processing location sa cloud computing is centralized data centers, and sa fog computing naman is distributed nodes closer to the data sources. So ito na yung example dito sa right side, siya yung nasa gitna na malapit siya sa cloud and sa edge, and yung sa edge computing naman is directly at or near data sources kasi ito mabilis talaga siya nalalaman agad natin sa cellphone. So yun sa edge computing, and the latency naman yung sa cloud computing is high kasi yung cloud computing is hindi malapit sa atin, malayo pa to siya, kaya mabagal yung kaya high talaga yung latency niya or mabagal kasi yung latency is delay yung process of data. And sa fog computing naman is medium lang siya kasi ito siya or sa regional nodes or kumbaga sa city lang siya, and then yung the edge computing naman is low latency local processing, ibig sabihin mas mabilis yung proseso ng mga data. And then sa scalability naman, the cloud computing is high kasi marami yung nakakasya na file dito, hindi katulad sa mga cellphone natin, may limited lang siya. So yung fog computing naman is medium lang siya, ibig sabihin hindi talaga siya katulad ng cloud computing. And then sa edge computing naman is limited lang siya, limited to local infrastructure. Then sa storage naman, sa cloud computing is unlimited but remote. So ibig sabihin hindi lahat yung naka-access dito kasi yung may mga internet lang and may mga access sa mga digital, so sila lang yung nakaka-access dito. And then sa fog naman, fog computing is moderate lang siya, and sa edge computing naman is limited to local infrastructure or limited on device or small local server. So kung ano lang yung kasya sa device mo, yung kayang hawakan ng device mo na data, so yun lang, limited lang siya. And sa uses cases naman sa cloud computing is big data analytics, large scale apps. So kahit gaano man kalaki yung data or file ay kaya nito. And sa fog computing naman, smart cities, industrial automation with coordinations. So yung fog computing ay may, and then sa edge computing naman is real-time processing, AR, VR or autonomous system remote monitoring. So yung benefits of edge computing is low latency, ibig sabihin hindi siya delay, and sa real-time decision by processing data locally, for example for autonomous vehicle and automation. So sa vehicle mo, nalalaman mo na kung ano ang sira sa vehicle mo kasi yung yung may IoT na yung vehicles mo or nakaka-detect na siya kung ano yung problema. So okay, so sa bandwidth optimization, reduce the need to send large data to the cloud, saving bandwidth and avoiding congestion. So improve reliability. Local system can function even without internet cloud connectivity. So kahit walang internet, yung edge computing ay gumagana pa rin. So yun yung benefits niya. And enhance privacy. Sensitive data stay local, reducing exposure to external threats, kasi yung edge computing ay ikaw mismo ang humahawak. So the limitation of edge computing is the resource constraints, limited power, storage, and processing capability on edge devices. Kasi yung edge computing is limitado lang siya yung pwede niyang hawakan na data. So, and the complex management. Managing many distributed device is harder than central cloud system, kasi yung edge computing nga is limitado lang, and sa cloud computing is nakakahawag siya ng malaking file na pwede niyang i-store. So yun lang yung kaibahan niya. And then sa data consistency, keeping data sync across many edge device can be difficult, kasi yung edge computing is limitado lang siya, kaya hindi talaga siya nakasync sa mga ibang devices, kaya difficult talaga siya. And sa security risk, devices may be physically accessible to attackers or located in unsecured areas. So may security risk yung edge computing, kasi pwede itong manakaw ng mga masasamang loob dyan, at pwede rin ma-access yung account mo at mawala yung mga data.
So good day everyone, I am Nakisa M. Tantong from the BS EdMat 3A, and I am the next reporter for this group. So my topic is all about the data management in edge environments. So it involves several key tasks to handle data efficiently near its source, example given the IoT devices, improving responsiveness and reducing cloud dependency. So under this, we have the data collection and pre-processing. So data collection and pre-processing is the first step where data from IoT devices or sensors is collected and cleaned up before its use. So under the data collection and pre-processing, we have the data cleaning. It fixes errors and removes irrelevant or missing data. So data cleaning, it removes incorrect, repeated, or missing data so that the system works with accurate information. The next one is the data normalization. It ensures data compatibility across systems. So data normalizations, it makes sure all the data is in a standard format so that it can be used smoothly across different systems. So the third one is the initial feature extraction. It identifies key patterns to reduce data size before cloud transmission. So initial features extractions picks out only the important parts of the data to reduce its size and make it easier to process. So the next one is the real-time and near real-time data handling. So under this, we have the stream processing. It continues data analysis using tools like Apache Kafka. So stream processing, this is like watching a live sports games that you see updates as they happen. So edge devices can process data instantly as it comes in, instead of waiting for everything to be collected first. So the next one is the event-driven architecture. It immediately responds to conditions, example given the overheating. So here, the system waits for something important to happen, like a machine overheating. So then immediately takes actions like turning it off or sending an alert. Time-sensitive storage, it stores short-term data locally for quick access. So here, some data is only useful for a short time. So this storage keep that data locally so it easy to access quickly, then removes or send it away later if it's no longer needed. So data aggregation, filtering, and compression. So aggregations, it combines data into summaries. So here, instead of saving every detail, the systems combines information into a summary. For example, it might store the average temperature every hour instead of every minute. So the next one is the filtering. It keeps only important data. So here, it removes unimportant or repeated data like deleting background noise from a recording. So the system skips only the part that matter for analysis. The third one is the compression. Shrinks data size efficiently using algorithms like LZ4. So here, it shrinks the size of data files so they take up less space and send faster, like making a video file smaller without losing picture quality. Now let's talk about the context-aware and adaptive data management. So context-aware storage, it stores data based on relevance. So here, the system saves data based on what's happening. For example, a security camera only saves video when it detects movements, so not all the time. So the next one is the adaptive data offloading. So it decides whether to process or store the data locally or in the cloud. So here, the device decides when and where to send data. So if the network is slow, it might wait or keep the data locally until the connection improves. Last one is the policy-based management. Applies rules to prioritize and manage data under various conditions. So here, you can set rules or how data should be handled. For example, keep temperature alerts for 7 days, delete everything else after 1 day. So the system follows these rules automatically. That's all for my report. The next reporter will continue the discussion.
Persistent storage of the edge retains data even after system reboot or power failure, essential for edge device with intermittent connectivity and resource constraints. Benefits: data durability, offline functionality and latency reduction. Storage architectures, centralized, single nodes, easier management but single point of failure. Distributed, multiple nodes, higher availability, faulty tolerance but increased complexity. Lightweight storage solution, SQLite, Redis, InfluxDB, preferred for edge devices due to small point footprint, fast performance and flexible, suitable for various data types of efficient for edge deployments.
Good day everyone. I am John Dick Prudente from BSed Mat 3A. So I am the sixth reporter of Group 6. So today I'm going to discuss the summary of key and storage models and best practices for data management in edge computing environments. So choosing the right storage model. So the first one, so we have object storage. So it stores data as discrete objects with metadata. So when we say object storage is an ideal for large media files with metadata. So the next one is the key value stores. So pairs of key and value, ideal for fast lookups. So key value stores work best for fast, simple looks up. So the third one is the time series databases. Optimized for index data like logs and sensor readings. So time databases are optimized for sequential time shape data like sensor readings. So factors of affecting storage choice. So data structure, access frequency, retention needs. Often a hybrid model is used for complex application. So when selecting a storage solution, we consider the structure of data, how frequently it accessed, and how long it needs to be retained. Often, combining storage model is the most efficient solution. So conclusion. So edge computing supports real-time data processing and bandwidth efficiency. So challenges, data management, system reliability, and scalability. So data management, pre-processing, aggregation, real-time analytics. So persistent storage, lightweight and distributed. So architectural considerations, hybrid approaches for performance and fault tolerance. So in conclusion, smart data strategies are fundamental to scaling intelligent systems from smart cities to industrial automation. So that's all for my report.
Greetings. So my topic is all about recommendations for practitioners and developers. First, we have the strategy design. So carefully choose storage model or object key value time series based on data types and access. Next, we have the data lifecycle management. Implement intelligent policies for data retention, deletion, and offloading. Avoid resource exhaustion. Next, security and private controls. Use encryption, access control, and secure boot mechanism and protect secure data. Sensitive data. Fault tolerance. Mechanism leverage replication, checking, pointing, distributed, continuous, algometry, or algorithms to ensure high availability. Next, adapt system. Design system that can dynamically adjust data and handling storage strategies based on contextual factors like networks, condition, and workload functions. By adopting these best practices, developers can build scalable, high-performance edge solution that maximize the potential of local data processing. So final thoughts and call to action. As edge computing contributes or continues to evolve innovation in lightweight database, decentralized storage model, and AI-driven management will push the boundaries of what possibles. Researchers and developers are encouraged to explore new techniques for enhancing data persistence, security, and scalability. At the edge, collaboration between academia, industry, and the open source community will be essential for unlocking the next generation of intelligence distributed system. Now is the time to embrace the edge, experiment with new architectures, test innovative storage solutions, and help shape the future decentralized computing. The opportunities are vast and the impact is limitless.